Terry, welcome. Good to have you, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good.
You're so damn busy. I just heard as I sat down that you have another show. You're doing an F1 thing? Tell me about that. Dude, I love F1. What's going on?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, I fell in love with F1 about 4 or 5 years ago. I was doing a movie in Hungary and was invited to the Hungarian Grand Prix. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know, and it was the weekend off. I said, hey, I'll nothing else to do in Hungary. Let's go.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I'm in Budapest.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going, hey, let's go. And I'm expecting to see, I didn't know what it was. Just some people with tubas and cars going around in a circle. I didn't know what it was. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God. Like I'd never been around this world, and it was so unique. And each one of these cars were like little spaceships. And I said, what in the world is happening? Where has this been? Like, I didn't know anything about this, right? And I went and got to walk the grid, and it was just so thrilling and exciting. And anyway, mind you, this was Hungary. So
right.
It wasn't like the super element. It was still like, people they bring their own food and do their own thing. But then I got a chance to go around the paddock. And I was like, oh my God, there's Ferrari, there's Aston Martin, there's, this is Alpine, and there's, oh my God, Red Bull. And I was like, what? Why haven't I heard of this, right? And
had you never seen like The Drive to Survive or any of that stuff on Netflix yet?
No, I hadn't. Because I'm too busy working. Yeah. So I was just, everybody tells you about what you should be watching. What I mean? The best thing you're not watching. Well, I'm always the guy not watching.
Yeah.
Because I miss it all. You know what I mean? And because I'm too busy actually working. So I hadn't got it. And then I got it. But when I got there and I was like, this is fantastic. And what was so great is the people from Red Bull kind of invited me in and introduced me to all of it. And they're carving Iberico ham while I'm sitting in the paddock. And I said, wait, this is not the Super Bowl is not this good.
No, for sure not.
And then I said, I got to do this again. So I went to the next thing that I could find. I actually went to another Formula One back when they both premiered in Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then after that, I went to Spain. I went to Abu Dhabi.
So you went to the Vegas. You went to the Vegas at proper Formula One.
The first Formula One in Vegas.
Yep. And that was in the middle of the night, right? Because
yes. And it's consistent. I was like, and it was better. I was going, each one had its own personality and its whole thing. And then I'm going to tell you this. This is what blew me away. Because I was already in love. I'd been following it all around the world. And then I found out that there was a rumor that Cadillac was about to join. Now, this is my thing. I was already in with Red Bull, which was great because these guys are so cool. But then my father worked for General Motors. I'm from Flint, Michigan.
Oh, wow. Right? Oh, yeah. Sure. Hell yeah.
And you have to understand what Cadillac means to
Flint.
The GM family. Yes. Cadillac was the word for luxury. In America, when you wanted to say something was great, you said that was the Cadillac of
That's right. Sure.
Life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I was like, well, oh my God. I said, this is a chance to be in on a brand new Formula One team, right? So I sought them out. Okay, I went to find them. They were in Miami. I went and I called some people and got in touch with these guys, and I volunteered to host their event that they had because I said, hey, I'm a name. Hey, you know what? I host the biggest talent show in the world. Guess what?
Yeah, right.
I would love to do this. And they were like, what? Okay. And so there I am in Miami. I'm hosting this big launch party for GM and Formula One, Cadillac Formula One, the whole thing. And I just slapped my name on it. And I was like, yo. And this is the thing. I found Dan Towers and Cassidy Towers, who are the owners of the Cadillac Formula One team. And I was like, dude, what can I do to help you guys? Like, to get the word out because this is the thing I always felt like. You have to understand, being a kid from Flint, Michigan, my father moved up from Georgia to go to Flint, Michigan to work in the factories. And that's where he met my mother. I told them, I said, guess what? Without General Motors, I wouldn't exist.
Wow.
And they were like, damn, that's how you sell people, right?
That's right. That's amazing.
I said, so if there's anybody you want to represent, be an ambassador for Cadillac Formula One, it's me, right? I said, because I was born for this, you know what I mean? And I said, dude, come on. And I said, my love of Formula One, my love for what Cadillac stands for, I was like, you can't do this without me. Like, I'll be hanging on
the bumper.
I'll just be hanging on to the back of the car. Yeah. I'll be changing wheels. I'll show up and hide out in the trunk. I don't know what to do. And they were like, man, let's do this. And we put together 18 episodes of a show called Cruise Control, which is me basically following Cadillac Formula One. But this is the issue. And not the issue, it's actually what happened so great because it expanded. It expanded because TWG Global, who owns Cadillac Formula One, also owns Spire Motorsports and NASCAR. They own Andretti Motorsports and Indy.
Wow.
So I've been covering all of it. I've been in North Carolina with NASCAR. Can't wait for you guys to see those episodes. Just came back from the Indy 500. It was my second Indy, which was the absolute best Indy of all in a
time.
century.
Oh, no, I saw it. It was bananas. But bananas finish.
Bananas. So you got to understand, man. Now, I'm in midlife crisis, right? You know, I'm 58. I'm sitting here, man. I'm like, I played football, played in the NFL. I've done the movies. I've done this stuff. I was in Expendables. We blew up buildings and bridges. And I'm bored. I'm like, dude, I need something else. You know, I am. Dude, I am I don't say it's an adrenaline junkie. I'm an adventure junkie. Like,
that makes sense. That fits.
My best times was hanging, you know, I'm literally jumping out of an airplane with Bear Grylls, you know. I'm parasailing in Brazil. I'm jumping off stuff because I need this excitement. It's just not enough. You know what I mean? Like, I was doing Brooklyn Nine-Nine and I needed to host live TV because it just wasn't enough. Yeah, I was bored.
Yeah, I
would literally go home and be like, what else can I do? I don't know what's going on.
I get it. That makes perfect sense to me. I mean, it's the, particularly, you know, doing a television, like a live or even just taped to live. You do, when you do America's Got Talent, that's actually, the finale's live, correct? First of all the live shows are live all summer, 2 times a week. I don't know why I thought that they were, you know, live to tape. They're actually live.
Actual live. We've had stuff go wrong. Everything goes wrong. It's me and America, straight up, and I love it. Yeah. By the way,
have you?
That gets my goat. Like I don't want things to be perfect. I want it to be like, all right, here we go. You know what I'm saying? It's like it replaces football for me because in the NFL you didn't know which way the ball was going to bounce. You know what I mean? Yep. And it's exciting, man. I live for this thrill. I don't like things. Listen, most interviews, I don't want the questions. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I like things that just come out of nowhere. And you know what? This is another thing, Rob. I'm never afraid to say, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. You know, like, I don't know.
If I'm on camera, I'm like, you know what? We have no idea what's happening right now. And people go, damn it, he said it. This is what we're like. For me, it's not about looking like you know everything. It's being willing to learn. And that's, to me, I really want to be that guy. My school never stopped. You know, I left college a long time ago, but I've always been in school, you know.
It makes sense. When you when you joined Expendables, so you're with all those legends. I mean, who was in that iteration of Expendables?
Yes.
It was Sly, obviously.
Yes.
Who?
Bruce Willis.
Oh, Bruce, God bless him. Amazing.
You had Bruce Willis. You had Arnold Schwarzenegger. You had Jet Li. You had Dolph Lundgren.
Oh my God.
Jason Statham.
Come on.
And then we had as a villain, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin, Eric Roberts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, that was the first one, and that was it. And it was like, what in the world?
Wasn't Sly directing?
Well, yes. I mean, he did, and he almost killed himself, which was crazy. He almost killed himself. You remember, see, Sly will tell you, man, he'll be the first one to tell you, he was like, dude, I couldn't buy my way back in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted me, man. No. Oh my God, it was terrible. I was flying coach. I couldn't believe it.
It's good. Yeah, it's
He'll
really.
tell
Oh,
you.
yeah, he will. He's the best. He's the guy.
No, he does. He
Yeah.
said, I was flying coach, buddy. It was bad. It was bad. And so he put this thing together, just called his friends. And remember now, and this was so wonderful, like, I wasn't supposed to be in it. It was literally supposed to be Wesley Snipes.
Oh, wow.
Wesley Snipes was in prison.
I know.
at the
I know. We
time
forget. He went to the flipping big house. Didn't want to pay his
for
taxes.
for his tax evasion thing. And let me tell you, and first of all, he deserved it. I listen, by all means, I was like, Wesley Snipes should be here. But he couldn't be there. And Sly was like, he called me. I got a call out of the blue because Sly loves comedy. Like Sly, he wants to be a comedian, but no one will believe him because he said they won't believe I'm funny. You know what I mean? So what he did, he said, Terry, I love your energy. I love your body, the way you look, the way you whole thing. You'd be crazy. You'd be amazing. I got this part for you named Hail Caesar. And I was like, man, when do we shoot?
Yeah.
And literally, I was playing in Brazil, and there I was with all the guys, and it was a dream.
What had he seen you in? What was? Did he say what peaked his
white chicks?
Oh my God, unbelievable!
White chicks,
amazing.
Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you like, never know.
Remember,
you never know who's
Sly
good watch.
is a comedian.
Yeah.
Sly is funny, by the way.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone is one of the funniest people you ever want to meet. And so what he would do is he would write the jokes and he would give them to me. He said, I want you to say them because they'll believe it from you. You know what I mean? So I was like, remember this shit at Christmas in the movie? And he's like, yeah, that's a great joke. Oh. You know, he's like, and he's all the little quips and everything. He wrote the script. He was rewriting that thing as we went. But he knew, this is another thing that Sly knows. He's like, hey man, comedians can go both ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People who can do comedy can do drama as well. But the other side is always it's not that true. You know what I mean? Where
yes.
a lot of guys that do drama, it's very, very hard for them to take that step over. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to look certain ways. But comedians, when you look at the roles like Jamie Foxx and Robin Williams, and they can be extremely wonderful dramatic actors. And he knew I could bring the drama simply because you're not, you know, there's no ego. It's a lot of comedy has involved with, you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he told me that. He was like, dude, and he told one of the best things he ever told me, he's like, hey man, when you have the audience take it, he said, dude, you have every scene I put you in, you're going to have the whole audience in your hand. I want you to realize that. Don't ever waste that moment. And I said, damn it, I won't. And it was awesome, man. Like learning from those guys, that old school, like my God, man. And the workouts were,
no way. You guys were, the last time I saw Sly, every time I see Sly, I get some great one-liner piece of advice. And here's the last one he gave me. And I've actually started doing it. I was like, dude, you look great as always. He goes, yeah, I'm very much into my forearms now. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you know, if you just roll your shirt up and you have big forearms, and everybody knows you're jacked. So it just made me laugh so hard. It's so genius. I'm really into my forearms now. And so I'm doing like forearm curls. Like my thing is like, if it's good enough for Sly, it's good enough for me.
Hey man, let me tell you, man, it changed my life. Like, there's a couple of moments that changed my life, but this was like the second moment. Is when my wife came on set. And, you know, this was a really watershed moment for me, man. Here I am in this big movie. And you got to understand, I am ex-football player. I didn't study acting, didn't come from it. I didn't start acting until I was 30 years old.
Wow.
Okay. So, but I had to because I was like, this is my new way to survive. You know what I mean? Like, I learned on the fly. I learned by acting, by watching people act and watching them and having people instruct me and the whole thing. And when my wife left the trailer, I'll never forget, we were shooting all night in New Orleans, and most of those shoots were all night shoots. And she left the trailer to go get a drink. And Sly came and he ran over to her like, hey, you're Terry's wife, right? She's, oh, yeah, yeah. He said, man, most people play. He said, most people play. You got to understand, it's like acting's like playing piano. And I've been with actors who play with one finger. He said, your husband plays with both hands all the time.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And you see how Sly is very poetic. He's just super poetic.
Yes.
And he said, man, he gives everything. And dude, and he knew what I was trying to do. You know what I mean? And I always learned, just give everything. Don't hold nothing back, man. And it's always going to lead you to good stuff, you know? And I appreciate, that was a moment when my wife came back. And like, it wasn't even like I was there. She came back like, oh my God, you won't believe what somebody told me. You won't believe, you know? And I was like, wow, that means he meant it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he didn't have to.
Dude.
You know what I mean? These guys don't have time to bullshit anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, man, he didn't have to do that. He just could have walked on by and said, yeah, what's up? But for him to seek her out and tell her that, I said, dude, you know, he's one of the biggest stars in the world. You have to understand, like, you know, if the Bible was written today, there would be Sylvester Stallone, chapter 1. There would be like Schwarzenegger, verse 3.
Hey, listen, I
names?
When I met Sly, here's how I met him. I had a movie come out that did very well in the summer. It was called St. Elmo's Fire. I was just a kid. And in those days in the movie business, like you couldn't be bothered to be in Hollywood when your movie opened. You had to leave. Of course, you had to flee to Hawaii. And everybody would go to Hawaii on opening weekend because if it bombed, then, you know, whatever, you weren't in town. And if it was a big success, you were unreachable. And Sly had one of the Rocky movies out at the time. And I'm sitting on the beach, and here comes Sly walking up the beach. We've never met. And he looks at me, and I look at him. And anyway, the next thing you know, we're hanging out. And we go to dinner that night. And we walk into the restaurant, whatever. I remember he had a food taster because he was convinced Russia was trying to poison his food. And I was like, oh boy, oh sure, whatever. But then we walk out of the building, and I'm telling you, Terry, there were 5,000 people in the streets, hanging out of buildings, going, it was Rambo. It was Rambo First Blood. That's what it was. The second Rambo, the big one, where he finally got shredded. Do you remember when all of a sudden no one had ever showed up on screen like that? Remember? It was like no one ever ran that second Rambo.
You didn't know it was possible.
No.
You didn't know it was possible.
People lost their shit. Now everybody does it. But then, and people were hanging out of the building going, kill Russia, Rambo. And it's like, well, maybe Russia does want to kill him. It was banana. But how sick was it when he showed up as Rambo in that movie, and no one had ever looked like that on screen, ever in the history of the movies?
First of all, I mean, you didn't know you could be that cut.
No.
You didn't know you could get that ripped. It was, bro, you know, that now they call it looks maxing and all that stuff. They call it. He was maxing.
Max maxing. You know, he was mogging.
It was unreal. And you know, it's funny you mentioned that stuff about the food. You know, we used to eat all the time. We would go, you know, downstairs in the hotel where we were eating, and he brought his own truffles.
Amazing.
He would pull his own truffles out and a shaver, and he said, yeah, this is the good stuff right here, right there. You know, and he's putting it over his pasta. And you're like, oh my God. The man brings his own truffles.
He knows how to live.
Who does that?
He knows. Well, listen, here's the other thing. You know, Bruce, when in his height, knew how to live. Sly knows how to live. Arnold knows how to live. Yep. These are guys who aren't like, oh, gee shucks, I'm in Brooklyn on my futon with my Oscar on them. They're like, fuck that. They're like, they are, do you know what I'm saying? They're living large and they are unapologetic. You know who else is like that? Is Travolta.
Yes.
Travolta's like that.
Yes, absolutely. I've never met him, but I love his, you know what? No apologies.
Nope, none.
Yeah, no excuses.
No apologies, no excuses.
And the other way, like, hey man, if it was me, but no apologies for when it succeeds, because that was me too. You know what I mean?
Nobody handed any of those guys anything. Not one of them.
Nothing.
I remember when Bruce was called Bruno and he was the bartender at Cafe Central when we would go in there and we were like, yeah, he was this charming bartender. He was a nobody. And people always thought he was charming. And the next thing you know, he's, Bruce Willis.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, this only in America. Like America, we don't go by the divine right of kings.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You can earn this shit in America. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to work and you got to be unstoppable. You got to be a force of nature. And
what do you tell your kid? How many kids do you have?
I have 5.
Oh my God. And what are the
4 daughters, 1 son, a 16-year-old granddaughter.
Oh,
I'll be 58 this year. I'm very, very honored.
That's amazing. So I know you've written a lot of books about how to live life and your strength and your experiences, and I love that about you. I love anybody that takes the time and has the discipline to sit down and face a blank page until you've done it. You do not know what that's like, and it is the most authentic view you can have into somebody is what they've written. And what are your themes that you keep returning to, particularly when it comes to your kids?
What's wild to me, especially when it comes to them, it's just I want to lead by example for one, but what's wild to me is I don't ever want them to victimize themselves, which is something that I used to do. I was a professional victim for a long time. Like, there was always a reason why I didn't get this. I could blame so many things. I want to say this, and this is something I've told my kids, but I've told this story a lot. Every man in his life is either a fool, a victim, or a king, right? So what happens is you're young and you're a fool. You've done stupid stuff, like unexplainable stuff. Like, why did I do that?
Yeah,
that was just the dumbest thing I could. And you can't even talk your way out of it. You just go, "That's a fool." Like, man, anybody looking would marvel at how foolish those decisions were.
And it's
you know what I mean?
Like, part of being a young man. Part of being a young man, right? Natural. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then what happens is, if you're not careful, what happens is you switch into victim mode because you've been a fool. So you messed up stuff. You did that, right? So you messed some things up, but you have all these reasons why you made that decision. So because you have to, you have to justify this. You know what I mean? So you come up with all these excuses, and I came up with tons. I was like, "Hey, man, I was from Flint, Michigan, and I was broke. I didn't have no money. Hey, I'm black, man. What do you expect? And it's racism, it's the racism industrial complex, and it's the this and that. You could blame, man. It's the political situation in Africa that changed the situation here. And this is another thing. The table is always full of valid excuses. Mind you, the excuses are real. The excuses are valid. Like, you're right. Statistically, you are, you should be down, or you should be dumb. You should be a fool. However, with all those valid excuses, the table's always packed full and you can pick from them all day. And then there's the king stage. The king stage is like, wait a minute. I brought all this shit in here. I can get rid of it too. You see what I mean? Like, you're the king. It's your place. It's your thing. All that silliness and goofiness and excuses and all that, it's there because you let it in. All you have to do is banish it. Like, get out. Wait, this is my court. You, that, take that with you. And everybody out. Whoa. Let me tell you, man, the king says, no, now I am no longer, I did that. I messed that up. But I'm also responsible to get rid of it, to kick it out, to change it. I can change this. You know what I mean? Because what happened, we feel like, and this is why I want my kids to understand that anything you do, you can change. And wait, and this is the other thing, is that usually what you think is the way your life is somebody else did it. But you know what? The way, however your life is right now, is actually the way you wanted it. Because if you really wanted something different, you do it. You see what I mean?
I do. When did the light bulb go off for you with that?
Oh my God. Now, the light bulb went off for me when my wife left. Rob, I was 20 years in.
20
I was
years
doing everything.
in.
20 years, okay? 2010, February 10th, 2010, we called D-Day at our house. My wife was like, I'm done. Goodbye. It's a wrap. And we've been married 20 years, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like, I thought I was doing everything right. You know what I mean? I had all the stuff. I mean, the money, I had the career, and stuff was booming, and I was doing stuff, but dude, I was first of all, I was still a fool and a victim. Okay. I was in it. And this is the thing, man. When I say fool and victim, I used to say stuff like, man, why doesn't she believe me? You know, I'm telling her all this stuff. Why doesn't she believe me? Rob, the question I should have been asking is, why am I lying? See what I mean? Same perspective. But all of a sudden, the onus is on me. I'm lying. I'm not telling her the truth. I got a whole nother thing that I'm working out on the side, but I'm like, why don't you believe that I'm being honest here? But the thing is that why am I lying? Why am I not being honest with her? Why am I afraid to show her who I really am? And she's in love with this image that she doesn't know anything about. You know, she doesn't know the real me, because if I showed her the real me, I don't think she'd be around. And what happened is she discovered it. And all of a sudden, she was done. And that is when I was like, oh,
wow. Shit. That's 20 years in to have that. I mean, it's an amazing story. No matter how much time, but 20 years in, that's fucking gnarly.
And and this is one thing, I thought it was over. Like I said, oh man, what? And this was the Hollywood way. I was going, well, that's how, that I guess no marriage can stand in Hollywood, because it's just one of those things. And I had yet another excuse, by the way, yet another one. You could just put them in there. Yet throw another excuse inside. But I mean, you know, she couldn't take the fact that I was popular and this and that, and I made some mistakes, but you know, dude. And then I was like, and there was a little voice that said, maybe it's me. No, it couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. It's all these other things. Like, come on, man. No, because, you know, everybody's telling me I'm great. You know, everybody says I'm fine. I make money. I got jobs. I'm doing stuff. I'm working good. I mean, hey, look, I came up all the way from Flint, Michigan. You know, I kicked and scratched my way up here. Maybe it is me. Maybe it's me. And dude, when that hit me, it was like an egg that cracked, that I was trying to put it back together, but I couldn't seal it. Like, you know what I mean? It was just tripping. And then I said, oh shit, this is me. This is me. Like, I'm not truthful. I'm not honest. I'll say I want, you know, it's cognitive dissonance. It was like me saying, yeah, I love my wife, but then I'm doing stuff that actually breaks us apart. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, dude, I need help. And I started to realize I'm not together. Like, all of a sudden, you know, the shade kind of came down, and the whole image that I had built up with all these sticks and scaffolding just started to crumble. It just couldn't handle the weight, and it just fell. And there I was, kind of exposed, like, oh man. And then I had a decision. It was like, well, because at first I was even like, man, you know, okay, well, this is the Hollywood way, so I'll just find another woman and I'll just keep moving, and maybe I should just keep blanking and going through it. And then I was like, but that's the opposite of everything you said you are. you know, and I would have been living a whole lie after that. Like, because everything you say, you want to be integrity. You want to have that integrity. You want to be this person, but so I guess I didn't. So now I just fumbled through the rest of my life. I said, hell no. And then it was like, but Hollywood didn't care. Hollywood was like, hey man, look, you don't have to go home anymore. Now you can do 3 movies. You know what I mean? It was like, we can put you to work all day long. And, you know, while your family's broke up and everything that, and you just find another picture that you want to present and we'll help you present it. And I was like, bump that, no way. And I went into what you would call rehab. And my problem was an addiction to pornography.
Interesting.
That was one of the things. And I couldn't stop. Like, you know, listen, I've argued, and it's funny, they say, well, it's impossible. Like, you know, you're just natural. It's like, you how can you be addicted to pornography? First of all I knew is that I couldn't stop. Couldn't stop. Wanted to stop, said I was going to stop, never stopped. Couldn't stop.
Dude, I've been in recovery 36 years for alcoholism, and I've seen and heard it all, and that's exactly right. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And
it's real.
It's a real thing. And the porn stuff today, with the accessibility of it all, is a real thing. A real thing. And
look, yes, and young men everywhere are like, why go to a real relationship? Why go through the trouble? Like, the way you go get rejected? Nah, I'll just sit here and fantasize. And none of that shit is real. None of it's real. And what's the problem is I had a real woman. And you just fell in love with the picture.
The intrigue.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
and it was and then you get addicted to what's forbidden. You know what I mean? You just like, well, oh man, you know, that's not my wife, and blah, blah, blah. And you all of a sudden you're like, and then you find yourself thinking about people like objects. Like, they lost all humanity to me. You know what I mean? You could slowly but surely just, you know, people just became things. I didn't like. I was like, oh my God, this is what happened to me. And my wife confronted me about this stuff, and I had hid it for years. Just, you know, I was like, well, you know, it's better off she doesn't know. And this,
yeah, that makes.
She was like, but she knew something was between us. She knew something wasn't right. You know what I mean? And she finally confronted me about it, and I just got tired. I got tired of lying, and I told her. And I had been unfaithful to her at a massage parlor like 10 years earlier, and I told her about it. And here I am. I'm thinking, okay, woo, that's off my chest. And she's like, what the hell? I'm out of here. I don't even know who you are. Rob, you got to understand, man. I built a reputation as a nice guy, but I knew I wasn't nice. I knew I wasn't being honest. I knew I wasn't being real. And to me, it was like, keep up that Hollywood picture, keep up the image, keep it up. But it's unsustainable, man. Like, you know, I couldn't be real with anybody. It just became like, what is the, like you said, how the appearances are, you know, let me go to, so that it looks like when the movie opens, I'm inaccessible.
Yeah.
It was be playing those games.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? When you really care, you know what I'm saying? When you really do care, act like you don't care. No, but you do. You know what I mean? It's like, because you put your heart and soul into it. And I went to rehab. I started talking to people and learning. And the first thing they asked me, they said, hey man, was your father alcoholic? I was like, yeah. They said, hey, was your mom very religious? I was like, hey, how did you know that? You know, I mean, they were reading my mail.
Yeah.
And they found that there were common things that lined up with this kind of addictive behavior, this compulsive behavior.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because that's what it is.
Yep.
It's a compulsive behavior. Listen, man, I don't know what, I knew people, when I grew up, they were kids that were addicted to eating paint chips. That's a fact. You know, these kids be in the hood and growing up in these tenements, and they're chewing on the paint. And these are ways that they dealt with all this weird trauma that they were going through, maybe domestic violence, because I came up in a house that was full of it. My father was beating the shit out of my mother, man. Like, it was, I had to wake up to, glass breaking, people shouting. And let me tell you, but in porn, it was like everything would disappear. All the pain, all the everything. I could just tune out. I could numb out. You know what I mean? And I would numb out for a long time. And then being on sets for a long time and being as an athlete, being away for a long time, you go to a hotel room and there it is. And you're like, okay. And you sooner or later, you can't do without it. You're just wondering oh man, what am I going to do without my fix? You know what I mean? It's one of those things that just took over my life. And I had to revamp, man. And I had to revamp. When I had to tear my life completely down, and rebuild it up from scratch, from the beginning again. Now, again, that's why I remember the day so clearly, February 10th, 2010.
And do you do the whole like inner circle, middle circle stuff, like all of it?
Well, now it's yellow light behaviors, green light behavior. You know what I mean? Red light. These kind of things. Yeah. And then, but to be honest with you, I've been so far gone from that, that it's like, it's a real cool place to be now, where, because I went public, it actually helped. You know what I mean? Because I went public probably 2015, about 2016. And literally said, hey, I was addicted to porn. And people were flipping because they were like, what is he talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Today's Show and
were people like,
they wanted me on the next day. Like, what did you do? Walk me through it.
What was it like? Like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah. Well, that was, and guys were like, dude, what the hell? I had pro athletes grab me and like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, I bet. Right?
Oh, they were like, man, dude, what are you punking out for?
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, dude. And I was like, hey, man, all I know is I couldn't stop. And I bet there's other people like me, man. It may not be you, but dude, and then the thousands of people that came and like, man, that's me. Dude, oh my God, I've been sneaking around at night and going to X-rated bookstores. I can't stop. It's people doing it at work and they lose their job. You know what I mean? Like, they can't, they click on the thing at work in the middle and all of a sudden they get caught and it's like, boom, they got to tell their families, I was watching porn at work. And it's like, it ruins lives because they're just not, you're living a lie. You know what I mean? And I just see what's now it is. And I'm thinking about, because I got I ran into it very, very young. I was about 9 years old. And see, the porn thing is cool.
By the way, I have found that is another, you talk about similarities that set you up for it. I find that's a big one too, is being exposed as at an early age to sexualization in a way that's completely inappropriate, whether it's perpetrated on you or you observe it, or whether you did to somebody, whatever it is, that's a trigger for a lot of people.
It changes you, like, because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was looking at. You know what I mean? My thing was, I loved girls and I wanted to give them a flower because it was a girl that I liked. And I just thought, well, she's so pretty and whatever. And then you see that image and you're like, what is that? Like, whoa, like we do that? You know what I mean? Like, and it was some hardcore stuff I was looking at. Like my uncle in his basement, he had all these mags and I was like, what are they doing? And I'm looking at it this way and that way, like, what is happening? And I was like, and I'll never forget, because I had older guys that were like, hey man, this is how you do it, man. Like, if you want a girl, you don't tell her you love her. I was like, but what if you love her? No, you don't love her. You tell her you love her, man. Don't ever say that. Don't ever say that. You get the draws and you just scoot on out, man, and move on. You want 2 or 3 girlfriends. You want to have like 4, 5. The more, the better. You're more of a man, the more you get more girls.
Is that the Flint?
That was the hustler mentality.
The hustler Flint.
It was the pimp. Everybody had, this is back when teenagers had the Playboy bunny on the back of their jackets and stuff, the Playboys. And, it was like, yeah, we're players. And, this is back in it was a very, very pimp oriented. I mean, this rap songs about pimps, so it's just the way we came up where women were something to be controlled, not loved, not cared for, but you control it. And this is another thing, and I have to say this too. A lot of my culture, you controlled your family as well. Like, hey man, they tell you, hey, you better get your wife and them kids in line. Other guys would go up to you, man, you better tell your wife something. Very controlling. Everything was, and if you didn't have control, you were less than a man. Your kids had to do exactly and be exactly what you want them to be. Your wife or your girls or anybody in your life, you had to control it all. And the thing is, when you look at the 12 step, it's literally figuring out what it is you can control and what you can't.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And guess what? You can't control other people. You have no.
Isn't that funny?
There's no way you can do that.
Isn't that funny? You literally can't do it. You got.
And that is the literal essence of addiction, is trying to control everything. You know what I mean? And you can't do it, and it's impossible. And it's like, man, let me figure out the difference. And I realized the one thing I can't control is me. I can control me, and this is the king. This is the king. I don't want that anymore.
Well,
I don't want that.
And the other great, of course, part of that is that I can only control me, but I need to admit that I can't control this addiction.
Yes.
That's it. And and the thing is, whether
you have it in your life, you're right.
And people get the lucky people who are normies, right? Who don't have an addiction. It's so outside their experience that they can get so hung up in, well, okay, I see an alcoholic. I've seen alcoholics staggering around in the street. I know what that is, but how could anybody be addicted to sex? Or how could anybody be addicted to porn? Or how could anybody be addicted to eating? Everybody eats. Just stop eating or whatever. It's like, it's the same thing. It's just a different, people have different iterations of it, but at its core, it's the same thing, and it's treated and dealt with in exactly the same way. And I always tell people, being in recovery is very, very simple, but it's not easy. It's simple, really simple, not complicated, but not easy.
But you know what, brother? And I'd say this too, when you think about, you say stuff like, I'm in recovery, and, usually that's a very sad term. People are like, oh, I'm in recovery, I'm so sorry.
No, not me, man. I fucking love it, dude. I loved going to rehab. I tell people all the time, going to rehab is the best thing ever happened to me.
But that was sold to me at first.
Yeah.
Then I realized you got to look at what the definition of recovery is. Recovery means you're getting something back.
You recover, literally. You're recovering.
Imagine if every day you found what was stolen.
Right.
Dude, is that not a day of joy?
Yeah.
And, if someone stole all your goods and you went and every day you found just a little bit more, you'd be like, oh, I thought that was gone. This is mine. It's back. You see what I mean? And that's what recovery is, like recovering, bringing it back in, becoming more of the real you. And let me tell you, man, 16 years after that moment, I am the real me. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. The fact that I can sit here and talk about this like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Because I'm the real me. Like, I'm the real Terry Crews. Honest. Yeah, it's like, I'm never going back. Like, I love recovery. I love recovering more and more of myself. You know what I mean? Like the real Terry. Let me tell you, man, when I quit porn, I got 3 jobs. I was designing furniture.
You had all this time.
Like,
all,
I had all this
all this
energy,
time and
man. Like I
energy.
said, it's like, man, let me host AGT while I'm doing Brooklyn Nine-Nine, while I'm doing jumping off a cliff. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo. I said, what was I wasting all my, because, that's another thing. There was a lot of wasted time.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Happy hour turns into happy 4 hours.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or 5 hours. And it's like, what you could have done. And I stopped thinking like that. I said, okay, that's over. Just start. Now, take that time and do what makes you happy. Like, do you. And man, I got so much. People are like, man, you doing all these things. I do it. It's enough time in the day, man. Once you get those hours back, I'm like, yo.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Listen, I love having people on who are in the fellowship of figuring out our lives without our ism, and like me, like you, like me, is like, I'm more joyous and like, it's all good in the hood, man. This is fucking sick being in recovery. It's more fun. It's more everything. I have a huge wine cellar in my house. I'm not drinking it. It's like there for my guests and let's party. If you can do it and be healthy and have a good on you. I couldn't, but go for it. It's like, it's
not doom and gloom.
No,
dude. This is
no.
great life. And this is one reason why I love comedy. I love comedy because, in fact, to me, the darker it is, the funnier it can be.
Oh my God, same. You know
what I'm saying?
Same. 100%. You were so funny on Brooklyn. Brooklyn was, and because that's who's our guy, the creator of Brooklyn, who from Parks and Rec, Dan Gore.
Oh, Dan Gore. Oh, my God. Dan is just, yes. And you were amazing on Parks and Rec, by the way.
Thanks, man.
First of all, that's the reason why I did Brooklyn, because I was such a fan of Parks and Rec, man. What you guys did, oh, my God. It's classic.
Such a fun
show. Isn't Dan the best?
Dan Gore, he was one of the top dogs in the writer's room on Parks. And then I remember vividly when he that pilot that he wrote got picked up, and I was like, what is it? And it's Brooklyn. I remember seeing Sandberg he was down there getting his first wardrobe fitting, I remember. And I was like, this is going to be a really good show. And it was one of the great shows. I mean, a police comedy is such a specific, great world. It's a great world.
Oh, and it hits all worldwide. Let me tell you, it translates. I've been to India, man. I've been to South Korea, and they're like, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They love, because everyone translates with police work and police stories, and most of the world has gotten the CSIs or the Law and Orders. Right. And to see a funny version of that was so rare. And it was just fun. He got a new show too, a Sunset PI. Dan just had a new show picked up at NBC. So I'm cheering for him right now, man. It's just so good because I just love him. I love Dan Gore forever. He was so great to work with, and that cast.
Well, who I love on that show is Andre Braugher.
Oh,
dude, I was lucky enough to work with him in a drama, and he's always been one of my favorite actors since the day I laid eyes on him. But he was when the word revelation is overused. Him in that show was a revelation. A revelation. He was hilarious. This is Andre Braugher, who is
when I mention people, I say dramatic actors who can go to comedy. I said, dude, that he's the best who's ever done it. And I go, and what was so cool is that here you had a superstar. I mean, Juilliard trained, absolutely could do everything from Shakespeare to, he could act circles around all of us. And yet he chose to bring us up with him. Like, he never talked down to us. He never treated us like, he was always so patient. And most of our scenes were together because we were right there in the precinct together. Mm-hmm. He was always talking to me about what my motivations were and what should I be looking for. And I just, like I said, man, I was taught by the best. the best. And when he passed, it just blew my mind. That was a hole in my heart. There's a hole in my heart that will never be filled. Straight up.
He is his lovely wife, and like I just loved. We did a Stephen King thing called Salem's Lot, and we were in Australia for like 3 months together, and he's one of my favorite actors of all time. And he was he was so genius. Everybody, I'm sure everybody's seen the show because it's a huge hit. But if you haven't, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, my man Terry Crews and Andre Braugher, murderers in it. They're crushing. It's so fun. So fun. We gotta figure out something to do together.
I know we really do. You know, we have the same makeup artist, Annette.
Yeah. Oh, Annette's the best.
That is amazing, isn't she? She makes me look so good. And I see you, and I'm like, oh yeah, Annette is always making Rob. Look, first of all, if I can say I got the same makeup artist as Rob Lowe, it makes me feel handsome. I'm like, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, you are the original heartthrob, man. My wife was like, Rob Lowe? I was like, hey, watch it.
Amazing. Yeah, Annette is she knows where all the bodies are buried. She gets me going every morning, making me look good.
She's amazing and just good people, man. And I said, you know, and she does not play. And I said, you down with Rob? Oh no, you down with me because I couldn't wait to meet you, man. I couldn't wait to meet you. You know. So thank you, brother, and I'm so glad we got this on. We got to work on something.
Got to, and I'm psyched for the F1. You got 100 Cooks coming out on June 7th. Food Network. You got so much stuff going on. I relate. I love guys like you and me who write books, do live television, movies, comedy. You're a dude. You're a king. You're a king.
Thank you, my man. That's
you're
right.
King
That's
in your
right.
kingdom.
To another king, Rob. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon, brother. Thank you.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you.
Today's Lowdown Line is brought to you in partnership with Macy's.
Hi, Rob. This is Jen calling from Westchester, New York. Big fan of you, big fan of the pod. I'm calling because Father's Day is around the corner, and I need some ideas for my husband, Drew. He actually just got a new job. So I'd love to get him something that can help him kind of, you know, jazz up his wardrobe a little bit, level it up a little bit. And you have great style. So I'd love to see if you have any ideas for Father's Day. Thank you.
Well, first of all, congratulations. New job. Always very, very exciting. I'm going to go with sticking to the basics, which any dude can always use, a sort of revitalization. I think the first thing are shoes. Guys, we just don't replace our shoes enough. So I would say Cole Haan makes a great men's tennis sneaker, sort of dressy. You can wear it dressy if you want. You can wear it cash if you want. There isn't a guy that can't use that for sure. And I'm super into the Casio men's digital watch and vintage gold. It's like super like 80s, 90s vintage. You know, people will go, oh, what is that? Oh yeah, I remember I used to have one of those. You can't go wrong with either one of those things. Thank you for calling and thank you for listening. And other options, you can check out the Macy's Father's Day gift guide.
Hi, Rob. This is Paige calling from New Jersey. I'm pregnant with my first child, and I wanted to get my husband a gift for his first Father's Day, even though our baby hasn't arrived yet. I'd love to get him something thoughtful to celebrate the excitement of our new baby, but I don't want to splurge too much since we're on a budget waiting for them to arrive. He loves travel, golf, and genuinely anything related to sports. Do you have any suggestions? Thanks so much, and happy Father's Day.
Oh, happy Father's Day to you guys. Well, if he loves golf and there's a baby on the way, I've got both good and bad news. The golf game is going to suffer. I gave up golf for 20 years when I had my kids. Had to. So why don't we get him something around golf so he can enjoy it while he can? So I'm going to go with just a linen shirt or golf polo You can't go wrong. Favorite color? I prefer the kind of like subtler ones. I would suggest that. And you know what else is good is like I don't know if he's a scent guy, but I always appreciate getting a good scent. Dior Sauvage is great. I know Macy's has that, but you can also check out their Father's Day gift guide to see if there's other stuff. But I'm going with a polo and a scent. Thanks for calling and thanks for listening. You can get your dad all these gifts and more right now at the Macy's online gift guide. Thank you to Macy's for supporting today's Lowedown line. Check out Macy's online gift guide for more ideas at macys.com/gift guide or book an appointment with a personal stylist at your local Macy's.